going to start with a ride because it's jumping out to me a bit. What you're going to see from how I EQ, especially with dance music, is on the majority of the elements, I'm always going to roll off the low end unless it's kick and bass. Then I'll pay special attention to the sub harmonics and so on of those two elements. Everything else, I don't really feel like it needs much under 100. I'll start with a high cut on most elements and roll that up until I feel like I've gone a bit too far and I'm sort of missing something. So all this information down here on a hi-hat doesn't really interest me. There's nothing to gain from a hi-hat having sub bass. So I'm going to roll it up until I feel like I'm hacking into the character of it a little bit and starting to lose something there, a little bit. And it's up to me to decide if it's lost useful information or not. There's no right or wrong. What do you think? True. And then we will go back and tweak it as the time goes on, but I'd say either somewhere between here or here is probably where I would set it anyway. Too much. I mean, there is also, this is also cool. You can also have things that sound like that, but I'm going to ballpark figure that. And I know from experience that 909 rides and 909 hi-hats, which we've all heard, this is a sound we all know from listening to dance music, they always, always, always have a resonance somewhere between 2.8 and 5.5K, something like that. They have more than one resonance actually, but there's one in particular that is really dominant. It makes up some of the characteristic of the 909 sound, however, it's always, for me, ever so slightly dominant, and it's this one. Hear it now? More aggressive, more relaxed. Maybe you want aggression, however. Maybe you want that ring, but be aware that it exists. And once you spot it, you're like, holy shit. I know. I've stood in nightclubs and be like, no, I'm not having that.
You lapped up everything you wanted.
I can remember one night that I had this discussion with somebody that I know on a dance floor, and I was like, oh, you spot that resonance? And they're like, what, mate? And I was like, oh, yeah, never mind. But yeah, it exists. 909s always, always have this. But without it, it doesn't sound as 909-y, does it? The way I like to approach that is there's a reason that it is there. It's part of the characteristic of the sound, and we like the sound in general of a 909, and it's had its history in dance music anyway. And there's a lot of tracks that will have this resonance on the hi-hat or ride cymbal still there, and that's totally okay. The way I see it is it's an important part of the characteristic of the song. However, we could do with a bit less of it, but I don't want to completely remove it because it makes it itself, you know? So I'll probably get rid of some of it. Okay. And I'll probably roll off the high end because there's information up there that we can get rid of that we won't miss. And because we bought ourselves some information, like we've gained a bit more space as a result of getting rid of the stuff that we don't need. Because we get rid of some of the stuff that we don't need, we can boost some of the stuff that we do actually want later on. If we're buying ourselves some time here, we're kind of it's hard to, well, you know what I mean, eh? We're getting rid of some unnecessary information that we can better use in more musical places further down the line as the mix goes on.